Sahanau bhunaktu saha viryankaravavahai tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Dayakaram Dayakaram Dantam Dharma Pravartakam Pranamami Dayanandam Madacharya Param. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. So we have not ended the prayer verses. Today I hope to complete the prayer verses for both the texts we're going to see. But before that, as I said, we have some questions. The first question is, I had a question about ahankara. You mentioned that ahankara, ego, is the I sense that we identify with, and if we give up the ego, we die. So the question is, isn't giving up ahankara a necessary part of self-inquiry, understanding that the real I, Atman, which is Brahman, am not this limited one-person ego, but I transcend my own ahankara. From a transactional perspective in this world, should I interact with others knowing that I am the witnessing my ego, interacting here with people's egos, but at the same time, I transcend all of this? This is the first question. So, number one, you cannot give up ego. Let's be very clear. We cannot give up our ahankara. Ahankara is the I sense. The I sense is very much necessary for our interactional reality. We have to interact with the I. If I am not here to interact, then what will people interact with? It will be, we say, corpse. So there is nothing else to interact with. So I sense is very much necessary. The I also to do inquiry. Who is doing the inquiry? Who is asking, who am I? There's also a confusion. When the question is asked, who am I? Who am I? Who is doing the inquiry into I? It is the I doing inquiry into itself. So that I thought is actually inquiring into itself. You cannot dismiss the I thought to do inquiry either. So even though the real I, the knowledge is, the real I is that Atma, that Brahman, limitlessness, which is the all-pervasive truth of this universe, we cannot discover that fact without using that I thought. That I sense has to be there. So when I interact with others, the question is transactional reality in the world. Should I interact with others knowing that I'm the witness witnessing my ego? Well, if you ask the question, we don't know, we know, right? If you don't know, you are the source of that I. You cannot just say, I'm witnessing the I. Then it'll be superficial knowledge. It is deep-rooted, assimilated knowledge. It is like faking it, right? I'm witnessing the I. The I is only a thought. I'm witnessing the I interacting with other I's, other I thoughts. It may help to some extent, but it is not fully assimilated knowledge. In fully assimilated knowledge, this question of should I interact with others will not come, because the interaction will automatically happen. That I will automatically interact, and it will interact in in accordance with dharma, because the I, to discover the source of the I, limitlessness, one has to have lived a life of dharma. So this is also very important. This is a very deep question, actually. So many people may feel lost, but don't worry. For those who understand, they will understand. So you cannot transcend. Clear. You can discover that the I is mithya. You can see it as a dependent entity. It is not as real as you think it is, and that is knowledge. That is in full knowledge. Until that time, it will definitely help you to think you are witnessing the I thought. It will be a type of practice, actually, to witness the I thought, but it is only in full knowledge where the I thought is seen as badita, it is seen as mithya, a dependent reality. So I had actually written a point for this. This is only in knowledge when you transcend the I. Until then, you grow from an ignorant I thought to an educated I thought. The educated I thought is one which knows that I have to live a life of values. I have to be in line with dharma. I'm living this life for moksha. That is called educated I thought, educated in this knowledge. So from ignorant I to educated I to enlightened I. So enlightened I alone, the I is seen as mithya. I hope that helps answer that question. There was another question from somebody. I found the means of knowledge which makes the subject into an object, both brilliant and dangerous. It is brilliant because it means the Atman can be spoken about. It is dangerous because the Atman is indescribable. Correct. That is correct. Words have no access to Atma. As I said, the pramana removes ignorance regarding Atma, what is already there. So he has written, it reminds me of when Piglet, people in UK will understand this. Piglet asked Pooh, how do you spell love? Pooh replied, you don't spell it, you feel it. Am I right in what I say? In the talk, it was said that this means of knowledge removes ignorance. I find I like knowing the words, but accepting the meaning is hard. For example, the self is limitless. This sounds lovely, but it is frightening to let go of the limits. Yes, it is. He's asking, does it count as a question? It does count as a question in a way. It is difficult to let go of the limitations. Why? Because the ego does not want to commit suicide. In this knowledge, you negate the very reality that you give to the ego. So in fact, it is ego in knowledge, ego is committing suicide. The I that you think you are, the I that you identified with for so many janmas, not just this lifetime, so many lifetimes we've had of identification. What happens? You see through the Upanishad vision, you see that I is said to be limitlessness. The I is said to be Ananda. The I is said to be untouched by anything that happens in this world. That I is very difficult to understand that one is that I which is limitless, because we are so used to a limited sense of self, right? Everybody is used to this limited sense of self. So here is a radical teaching that comes and says, you are much more than that limited self. We, in fact, feel safe in the insecure self. There is a safety in the known. Why is this true? Because there's safety in something that's known. I know that I am this much alone. I feel safe. I'm safe with this self. I know this is my name. I know this is my history. I know these are my parents. I know these are my relations. I know this. Even though I'm suffering with this known entity, I know this, I'm happy. Something else, the Upanishad comes and reveals, it sounds absolutely wonderful because it has a totally opposite view of what you have for yourself. It shows you as limitless, as the meaning of satisfaction, meaning of all adequacy, but I cannot accept it, I cannot assimilate it, because is there a real possibility? That question comes, can I really be this? Is there a possibility of being this? Well, we only say you have to see for yourself. It is taking a leap into the unknown. Vedanta is like that. It is not known until you discover it, right? That is why Shraddha becomes an important qualification for a spiritual aspirant. Shraddha means leaping into the unknown, committed to what is unknown, and discovering what the goal, the vision, the Upanishads say, discovering it for yourself, understanding it for yourself. But first of all, you take that brave leap into what you don't know. So this, this is the main issue here, is that we have so much security in this sense of self for lifetimes, not just this lifetime, that we want to perpetuate it, even though there's a part of us wanting to escape from it. So we are conflicted. We want to escape from this limited I. At the same time, I can't believe I'm limitless I. Then we say, you have to try and discover, you have to take that leap of faith. Literally, it's a leap of faith. Try the pramana for yourself, means of knowledge. See if it works for you. So I hope that if there's any more doubts with that, you can always ask, but I think that's clear. One last question I have is, how much of content overlap is there between the 4 Vedas and the Upanishads? I have read the principal Upanishads translation. I have read that the Chatur Vedas are also descriptive of the sacrifices and rituals, homas. That being the case, how can they pass as Shruti? Is it true that the Upanishads are the extracts from the Chatur Vedas, i.e. Vedanta, or are they largely independent? So I'm not sure whether I covered this last time, but many of you may already know this. Veda is, I said, is Shruti. Shruti means heard. What is heard? Apaurushaya. It is not created by a human being, human mind. I said that last time. Vedanta is not divorced from Veda. Vedanta is just a positional term for the Upanishads. It is called Vedanta, but it is synonymous with Upanishads. Anta is end. Veda means, Anta is end, and Veda we know is knowledge, body of knowledge. So Veda Anta means end of the body of knowledge, which we call Upanishad. So there is no difference here between Chatur Veda and Vedanta. They're both the same thing. But the Veda, Chatur Veda, is split broadly into 2 sections. The one that is, this question is being asked about the one particular section, which is called Karma Kanda, which are descriptive of the sacrifices, the rituals, all of these aspects come in Karma Kanda. The Vedanta portion is called Jnana-kanda, which is the knowledge. Jnanam means knowledge. It is a place where you gain the knowledge of the self. You gain knowledge of a different aspect of life, which is the limitlessness. So this is, Veda is Shruti. Vedanta is also part of Shruti. Karma Kanda portion deals with sacrifices, rituals, and Vedanta deals with Jnanam. I hope that is clear, because I think there is confusion here between Veda and Vedanta. Both are the same things, one referring to the end of the Veda, one referring to the Karma Kanda, that portion. So these were the 3 questions that people had asked last week, and I hope I've given some broad understanding of it. So if anybody has any more doubts, you can always write in and I will clarify next week. So we had seen last week Tattvabodha and Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ, the reasons for our study of these texts which are called Prakarana Granthas, introductory text into Vedanta study of Upanishads. And what is the study really for? The study, again, to discover this limitless you. The one that you think you are, the vision of Vedanta is that totally opposite, that you are much more than this limited self that you think you are. Why is it important to understand that? Because we are not happy with our limitations. We are living through life, plowing through this life, struggling through the life, not happy with limitations, trying to break free of limitations. In all different ways, we're trying to break free of our limitations, but we're not able to find the way to be free from these. So here we discovered that the Vedanta, that body of knowledge at the end of the Veda, Upanishads, becomes a means of knowledge to help you discover that you need not do anything to break out of limitations. You do not need to become anybody to break out of limitations. It is a question of removing the ignorance of your true nature as being limitless. You're already limitless, but because of identification with the, with the body, mind, senses, I take myself to be a limited entity. So this is what the Tattvabodha also discusses. This is what Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ also discusses. And before we begin any of these texts, there is always a very, a very great prayer that is done at the beginning of any textual study in Vedanta, because this prayer addresses the teachers of the lineage or one's own immediate teacher before, and also it has the dual effect of seeking the grace of the Lord. So very important in the tradition. If you see most of the Vedanta literature, none of them will begin without a prayer to Bhagavan and to the Guru. Why is it important? Again, it is the culture of India. It is there within the culture of India that the prayer always clears the obstacles to anything in life. Prayer is considered 100% free will involved action. Every human being has a free will. Many actions are inhibited actions, meaning there can be many obstacles between me and the action, result of the action happening. Many things can come in between and many things can disturb my action. What the Shastra says is, with prayer, nothing can come in between your connection with you and the Lord. It is 100% free will, involved action. Nothing can disturb your connection that you make with Lord through prayer. So this is why the prayers become very important. They are called prarthana shlokas. In Sanskrit, prarthana means prayer, and Mangala Shasana. Mangala Shasana are the initial prayers before you begin the text. Mangala Shasana, Mangala Charana, these are synonyms, these are words. So Mangala Charana means the first verse of any text is called invocatory verse. You invoke grace. Grace is what actually, when we hear the word grace, what does it mean? Grace is that invisible factor in life that makes all the difference between failure and success. It is grace, Devam, Anugraha. In all languages, it's there. It is that luck factor that puts you in the right place at the right time. It gives you the right things in life for your growth. That grace, even our acharyas, the teachers of the past, they recognized this text, even though we have authored this text is nothing without the grace of God. If it doesn't come, this text cannot reach the right people. It may get destroyed throughout the years. It may not reach the right hands. All of these unknown factors which could come and disrupt, the book being of use to humanity, they recognize only grace can avert all of this. So Mangala Charana verse is considered to remove all obstacles in the spiritual aspirant's life in pursuit of spiritual knowledge. That's why at the beginning of the text, these Mangala Charana verses are given. Mangala means auspiciousness, goodness, and Acharan means practice of form. It is a practice of form, this chanting, which is helping to remove all the obstacles for your study in future. So the first invocatory verse of Tattvabodha is addressed again. It is written by, we'll see, even the author is mentioned. We assume the author through the prayer verse. We will see the meaning. Everybody at home can chant this. twice every line without me. I have some people in person here. They will chant after me here. So, vāsudevendrayogīndraṁ. Vāsudevendrayogīndraṁ. Natvā jñānapradaṁ gurum.
natvā jñānapradaṁ gurum. natvā jñānapradaṁ gurum.
Mumukṣūṇāṁ hitārthāya.
mumukṣūṇāṁ hitārthāya. mumukṣutvaṁ hitārthāya.
tattvabodhobhidhīyate.
tattvabodhobhidhīyate. tattvabodhobhidhīyate.
So whole verse together. Vāsudevendrayogīndraṁ. Natvā jñānapradaṁ gurum. Mumukṣūṇāṁ hitārthāya. Tattvabodhobhidhīyate. So the Mangalacharana, this verse, is for 3 types of obstacles to be cleared. So we know, we have heard, many of you again may have heard of these, but it's always good to remember where the obstacles can come from. First one is Adidevika. Adidevika. This Adidevika obstacles, they arise from these natural calamities, devatas, things we have no control over in life, like earthquakes, floods, all of this, heat waves, so many things, or the devatas of nature have put those obstacles in the way. So it may stop us from our studies. It may stop us from doing our spiritual practices. So these are macrocosmic obstacles. The first reason for this Mangalacharana is to avert these Adidevika tapahas, obstacles from these sources. Then you have Adibhautika tapahas. Adibhautika are those which arise from things and beings in your immediate surroundings. People can also obstruct your spiritual pursuit. You're studying, you're trying to study, especially when you're in grihastha ashrama. Children can come running in, or they can make some noise, and then your train of thought is diverted, or suddenly the phone comes and you have to answer it. Somebody's sick in some other country and you have to, so many different things can happen. Adi Bhautika tapahas, too many duties as well. You've got so much work, you can't focus on contemplation. So even insects, all of this is included in Adi Bhautika tapahas. These are obstacles that come from immediate surroundings and people. Then the final obstacle that can come is Adhyatmika tapahas. Adhyatmika are those that come from within yourself, your own mind throwing up a lot of, stuff. Your illnesses of the body, your weak will to study, your weak will to, put in this pursuit, lack of capacity, feelings of lowness about yourself, smallness about yourself. All these can inhibit your study of Vedanta Shastra and, stop the pursuit as well. Procrastination, also another one that we're very, somebody once very nicely said, we human beings put the pro into procrastination because we become very pro at it. We always, easy to put it off. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it the next day. And that tomorrow never comes. We find it hardly ever comes. So there's a saying in Sanskrit, the wise do what is to be done tomorrow today. That is, they do what is to be done tomorrow today, which means what is to be done, they will do immediately. So Adhyatmika tapahas mean your microcosmic obstacles that come. The most difficult obstacles are the ones one has to face with one's own self. And these obstacles are called, any of the obstacles that come in life are called duritas in Sanskrit. Duritas is the word in Sanskrit. And that is why in our pujas, many of you may know the puja sankalpa that we do, the intention we state before we do the worship. Mamopata samasta durita kshayadvara Shri Parameshwara Prityartham Durita Kshayadvara. Through the door of this, destroying these duritas, let my prayer be effective. Oh Lord, let me connect to you. So this duritas, for these duritas to go, prayer is very much needed in our lives as well. So this attitude is what is important. The prayer is there so the manuscript doesn't get destroyed. In those days, the manuscript used to be written on or etched on palm leaves, and these palm leaves could be easily eaten by goats. They could be eaten by any creatures. So you also have to pray for all of these. So these, let this success come to this text that I'm going to take. Success means my efforts, which we have put in, I have put in to author this text, and the grace of God that has to come to me. And who has written this book is in this Tattvabodha prayer. So here you say vāsudevendrayogīndraṁ, Indra. When you see that Devendra means Deva Indra, that's joined together, Sandhi. Indra is, when you say Indra, when you see Indra Saraswati, there is a surname. So in the Adi Shankaracharya had established these orders of sannyasa, of renunciates. 10 orders, Dashanami Sampradaya, it was called. Traditional 10 names for sannyasis that were given. I'm not going to go deeply into that now, but here, Indra was definitely connected to Kanchi Mat. So Kanchipuram is a town, is a city in South India, and there is an establishment there which is called Matha, which teaches Advaita Vedanta, and that is one of the matas. Some people contest that, but it is considered to be established by Adi Shankaracharya. So all the teachers from that mata will have this surname. It is like a surname, Indra Saraswati. So you know that they come from this city. Our name is Saraswati, just Saraswati. So what is Saraswati as a surname linked to for a sannyasi? Saraswati, when you see, is linked to Sringeri. So when you see Saraswatis, they will have some connection to Sringeri Mat, which is in Karnataka. So this text is from an acharya, from a teacher from the Kanchi Mat, from Kanchipuram lineage. And Abhidhīyate tattvabodha, this text, he says, is abhidhīyate, is undertaken, is presented, is written after what? Natvā, after having done namaskaram, after having bowing down to who? Vāsudevendraha. So Vāsudevendraha is the name of his guru, actually. I'm bowing to his guru, but here he's using a pun on the words because Vasudeva is also a name for Lord Krishna. Vasudeva is also a name for Lord Vishnu. So any avatar of Vishnu, Vasudeva, so you say, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That is a mantra we chant for Krishna. So Vāsudevendraha is doing the salutations to his guru. And what is the meaning of this Vasudeva? As I said, the Sanskrit is such a profound language. Every syllable has meaning in Sanskrit. Vasuhu means in whom the entire Jagat dwells. Space, time, everything that exists, everything dwells in this Vasuhu. And Devaha means the effulgent conscious being. So Vasudeva means in that effulgent conscious being in whom the whole universe dwells, including space and time. Everything that is objectifiable dwells in this Vasudevaha. So this is one meaning for Vasudevaha. Second meaning for Vasudeva, he's called Vasu because he veils. Vas means to cover. Vas or vas means to cover. So how does he cover? So Vasudeva can be the one who deludes us, also the one who covers his reality from us with his power of veiling, with his power of Maya. He covers that reality from our eyes. We can't see what it truly is. So Devaha means he who shines, he who moves in the universe, he who creates. So Vasudevaha, and he is the Ishvara is called Vasudevaha. So one hand he's praying to his guru, on the other hand he's praying to Ishvara, the Lord, as well in this prayer. So Yogīndraṁ means he's talking about Yogīndraṁ, the most exalted yogi. The most exalted yogi is Yogīndraṁ. He's referring to his guru. And jñānapradaṁ, he's jñānapradaṁ. He is not just the universal guru for the world, he is the one who gives knowledge. This guru has given this knowledge, jñānapradaha, very nice, beautiful compound in Sanskrit. He has not given a little bit of knowledge, he has given full knowledge, jñānapradam gurum. And what kind of knowledge? Spiritual knowledge. He only gives spiritual knowledge. So we know the definition of guru. Gukarastvandakaro ve, rukarastannivartakaha, andakara nivartitvat, gururityabhidhīyate. The gu is darkness. Ru stands for remover of darkness. So the guru is the one who removes the darkness of ignorance from the eyes of the seekers. So this Guru, jñānapradam Guru, same idea he has here. The jñānapradam Guru is his Guru. And who is this text for? There has to be a purpose for this text. He mentions that in the prayer. Mumukṣūṇāṁ hitārthāya. Hitam means what is good for you. Hitārtha means, hitārtha means for the purpose of doing good for the person, for the purpose of being benefit to that person. Who is this person though? There is a specific person mentioned here. It is a mumukṣu. Moktumichuhu mumukṣu. The one who desires freedom, who wants total freedom from all sorrow, the one who wants freedom from all sense of insecurity, from all sense of inadequacy, that is a mumukṣu. And this book is written for the mumukṣus. It's written for people who want such a freedom. So which means what? If you don't want it, don't read this book. If you want this freedom, it is worth getting this book. He's already mentioned who the book is, the purpose of this book. So this is the prayer verse for Tattvabodha, and we will begin all the classes with this prayer verse. I will send the recording to the group. You can all practice it with the basic meaning also. Now we'll go to the prayer verse for Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ, as we're going to see two texts. Here, Adi Shankaracharya has written the prayer verse himself. Everybody can repeat twice after me in their homes. Sarvavedāntasiddhāntagocaraṁ.
Sarvavedāntasiddhāntagocaraṁ. Sarvavedāntasiddhāntagocaraṁ.
Tamagocaram.
Gocharam tamagocaram. Gocharam tamagocaram.
Govindaṁ paramānandaṁ.
Govindaṁ paramānandaṁ. Govindaṁ paramānandaṁ.
Sadguruṁ praṇato'smyaham.
Sadguruṁ praṇato'smyaham.
Sadguruṁ
praṇato'smyaham.
Together. Sarvavedāntasiddhāntagocaraṁ tamagocaram. Govindaṁ paramānandaṁ. Sadguruṁ praṇato'smyaham. So here Adi Shankaracharya, again, same way he invokes the grace of the Guru, who is equated to Ishvara, the Lord. So we know Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ is an independent Vedanta text which has been authored by Sri Adi Shankaracharya himself. So he says here in the first, in this verse, aham sadgurum pranataha asmi. Aham sadgurum pranataha asmi means I am prayerfully bowing to the Satguru. Satguru sometimes in English, I remember in India when I used to teach some bhajans to a group, it's spelled Sadguru. So I remember they used to say sad guru all the time. It's not sad guru, it is Sat. Because of Sanskrit rule, it is Sat, okay? Sat is very different to sad. In fact, it's totally opposite. This guru is a very happy guru. He is totally content. He knows the truth of himself. He knows the truth of the universe. That is why he is the true guru. Sat guru means the true guru, or you can take it as the guru who teaches the truth. And who is that guru? Any description of guru is Mahavakya Upadeshakarta, the one who unfolds the great equations in the Upanishads, the equations equating the individual with the Lord. The one who unfolds is called Guru. And this Guru here, he describes as Paramānandaṁ. Beautiful. Paramānandaṁ is an embodiment of Ananda, of fullness, of completeness. Ananda is one of those Sanskrit words you can never really translate into English because it is not an experiential word. It is something that we can only, somehow point at. It is fullness, if we can understand it, limitlessness and completeness. And when you add the adjective Paramanandam, you can imagine the highest. You cannot get more complete than this Anandam. It is Paramanandam. And he says his Guru is an embodiment of that. And the praise of the Guru is here in this Paramanandam, and the Govindam is given here. Govindam is the name of Adi Shankaracharya's Guru, actually. Govindam. So Bhagavad-pada, Shankaracharya's Guru, his name is called Govinda. So he's saying Govindam, name of his Guru, but Govinda also we understand to be name of Lord Krishna. Krishna, at the same time, he's mentioning here with this Govindam, Paramanandam, that Lord Sri Krishna is considered an incarnation of divinity in India. He's considered as an avatara. So Paramanand, Govindam Paramanandam, whose essence is formless, imperceptible, and tamagocaram. This Guru or God, he is talking about the Guru and God at once. Tamagocaram means this Guru is not really available for perception. Agocharam means not available for sense perception. He is imperceptible. He transcends sense perception. He is the absolute reality, that consciousness. And this Guru, such a Guru is made accessible. How? He brings in the verse, sarvavedāntasiddhāntagocaraṁ. Such a Guru, such a Lord, who is not available for sense perception, who is invisible, imperceptible truth of this universe, is made accessible through the teachings of Vedanta and the Upanishads. Sarvavedāntasiddhāntagocaraṁ tamagocaram. This subject matter, which is Sarva Vedanta, which is the subject matter of all the Upanishads, Siddhanta means the essential teaching of this Upanishad, essential teaching of Vedanta. And this Guru and this Lord is made accessible, means I'm able to understand them through the teachings of Vedanta. So these are the two prayer verses for this text. And we will be chanting these two before we begin any of the texts. Now there's a technical aspect I want to bring in. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it is important because we always discuss it in traditional Vedanta study. It is called Anubandha Chatushtayam. Anubandha Chatushtayam is establishing the validity of the text, the usefulness of the text. So in those days, they had a lot of logic here. What is the validity of this text for our pursuit? What is the usefulness of this text for our spiritual success? So 4 things, the text, for any text to come into publication in those days, who were the judges in those days? There was a whole, body of scholars in Kashi, Kashi, which is Benares. There were a whole body of scholars there that used to pass the manuscripts before they were put into public. So not every manuscript was passed. If the manuscript, met these 4 requirements, these 4 conditions alone, it would be ready for distribution amongst public. What are the 4 conditions and requirements? Number 1, Vishaya. What is the subject matter? It shouldn't just waffle on about anything and everything, right? Some books you pick up, we don't even know what the subject matter is. By the end, what was it I was reading about? So Vishaya, very clear, the book has to have some subject matter. What is the subject matter? We see even in the title, Tattvabodha, easy. Subject matter is the knowledge of the truth. Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ, subject matter is the discriminative analysis done on various levels. So Vishaya is very clear. In this verse, see, the prayer verse should reveal all of these 4. So in this prayer verses of both the text, what do we look for? What is the subject matter? Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ verse, tamagocaram, govindaṁ, that imperceptible govinda, that Lord, that guru, that equated, Lord and guru equated, that is a subject matter, that imperceptible consciousness is subject matter. Tattvabodha, we saw tattvabodhobhidhīyate, which is tattvabodha. Then the second qualification requirement is adhikari. Who is qualified to study the text? Who is the text aimed at? Because again, aimless texts don't get distributed in those days to public. There is a reason for this text. Who is the adhikari? So in Tattvabodha, it's very clear, mumukṣūṇāṁ hitārthāya. He says very clearly there, it is for the sake of those desirous of liberation, those desirous of freedom, not for anybody else. So you already know with the prayer verse, is this text for you? How brilliant, right? It is like, these blurbs that you have. So the prayer verse is like a blurb, actually. What is the book about? Who is it for? So in those days, they had it in a prayer form, not in the back of the book. Here you have the prayer. So you can see adhikari, the mumukshus are the adhikaris, the target audience for this text, those who are eligible for Tattvabodha study. In Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ, the adhikari is unfolded actually within the few verses, their introduction to the rest of Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ, the few verses, the adhikari or the qualified person will be unfolded. So we'll see that even in the next verse as well. The third requirement, qualification for the text study, for the text to be published is called prayojana. What is the intent? What is the purpose of the text? What is the goal of the text? So in Tattvabodha, again, what do I get if I study Tattvabodha? That also has to be clear. Mumukṣūṇāṁ hitārthāya. He uses the word hitārthāya. So it is very clear, this book is going to give benefits for those who seek freedom. It is definitely going to give some benefits in the, in guidance for those who are going to look for freedom. So there's already a purpose for it. There's a purpose for the study. And in Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ, in the verse, paramānandaṁ, what is the purpose of this prayer verse? What is the purpose of this Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ text? Paramānandaṁ means the discovery of limitless ananda, limitlessness, which is yourself. So this is the purpose of studying Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ, for the discovery of limitlessness, which is yourself. Then the fourth requirement for any text is sambandha. What is the connection between prayojanam, the reason for the text, the purpose of the text, and vishaya, the subject matter of the text? What is the connection between the reason for the text and the subject matter? So in Tattvabodha, we know the reason and purpose are connected by the reason and subject matter connected. Mumukshus, The people desiring moksha will discover the truth by using the text to understand themselves, the world, and the Lord. In Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ, the teachings sarvavedāntasiddhāntagocaraṁ will lead you to discover paramānandaṁ. This is the connection between the prayojana and the vishaya. So here you see these two texts meet all the requirements for the text to become public, for the text to become famous, for the text to reach us today's day and age after thousands of years or hundreds of years, so, from when it was written. So these are the two prayer verses. I will send again the recording and basic meaning to all of you. We can memorize if possible, but these will be chanted before all the classes. Now I want to go to Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ, third verse of Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ, because it's a very important verse. And it again, before he begins the text in detail, he starts with a few introductory verses, which are very important to understand. People at home can chant after me. Durlabhaṁ trayamevaitaddevānugrahahetukam. Durlabhaṁ trayamevaitaddevānugrahahetukam. Durlabhaṁ trayamevaitaddevānugrahahetukam.
Devānugrahahetukam.
Manuṣyatvaṁ mumukṣutvaṁ.
Manuṣyatvaṁ mumukṣutvaṁ.
Manuṣyatvaṁ mumukṣutvaṁ. Mahāpuruṣasaṁśrayaḥ.
Mahāpuruṣasaṁśrayaḥ. Mahāpuruṣasaṁśrayaḥ.
So what does Adi Shankaracharya say in this introductory, one of the introductory verses? Etat-trayam durlabhaṁ. Three things are very difficult to gain in life. Three things are very difficult. You may think there are many more things which are difficult to gain in life. He only puts three things very difficult to gain in life, especially for spiritual pursuit. No matter how much you try, no matter how hard you try, you may not get certain things in life, actually. Suppose you want 150 plus IQ. You've only been getting 100 max in all the IQ tests. Can anything change that IQ? Well, God's grace can. We say that only God's grace can change the IQ. You're born with that IQ, but you want something else. God's grace can change it. So many things in life we actually take for granted, but so many things are gifts of God, gifts of the Lord, whatever you want to call. There is something which is not in my control. I have been given certain things in my life. And this is what he is saying in this verse, Devānugrahahetukam. Because only caused by, gained by the immense grace, luck factor in your life of the Lord has given you three things. What is the first thing? Manuṣyatvaṁ, being born a human being. Can you imagine it? Number one, to actually take birth as a human being is a huge blessing. It is said, you may not agree, Adi Shankaracharya says, huge blessing to be born as a human being. Because according to our scriptures, we know that the reincarnation is very much there. So in reincarnation, you can have up to 8.4 million types of lives. You could have come in 8.4 million types of bodies are available to you if you believe in the concept of reincarnation. So you could have come in any form. But getting a human birth, it is said, it is the infinite, the grace of Lord that has given you the human birth. It may not be a guaranteed birth. Then he says the second thing, which is very, very difficult to get, which is only through God's grace we can get, is mumukṣutvaṁ, is the desire to be free. The status of being a mumukshu is very difficult to gain. It is only due to God's grace that one gets it. So one who desires to be free, one of the qualifications we will see in Tattvabodha, but mumukṣutvaṁ is very tough to get, also a gift from the Lord. Because if you look, how many people really desire to pursue this freedom in life? How many people even think that I want to be free from this samsara, this cycle of, becoming always, not satisfied, becoming something else, wanting to, struggling all the life to achieve all the desires, achieve all the big list that we have of achievements. I think this will make me happy, acquiring this, keeping this, rejecting this, avoiding this. All my actions in life are geared towards becoming. And finally, the person gets the thought, I want to be free from all of this. I've had enough. I've seen enough. I want to be free. How many people? Most people on Sunday, unlike yourselves, may be glued in some Netflix movie or something like that, or wasting time in a different type of spiritual pursuit in bar. That's Swamiji used to say that's a different spiritual pursuit, pursuing spirits there. But here we're spiritual pursuit, spending time in spiritual pursuit. So second thing is this, getting this luck, this grace from God, so mumukṣutvaṁ, to get this desire for freedom. And the third big blessing we have, due to the grace of God alone, mahāpuruṣasaṁśrayaḥ, is taking the support, finding refuge in a great person who is wise. This is also very difficult thing to get in life, to get a person who is wise, who has the knowledge of the Upanishads and the Vedas, and, to get the refuge and get the support of finding this mahāpuruṣasaṁśrayaḥ. So people used to go in those days in India, they used to travel the length and breadth of the country on foot, even bearing all difficulties to find a teacher of spiritual knowledge. That is how much it was valued in those Vedic times. These days, teachers have to go barefoot all over the country to find students. It's very different. So, that was those days. Now, these days, very different. Mahāpuruṣasaṁśrayaḥ, to get, and even if you get a teacher, especially these days, all YouTube teachers are available. So many people, you can find this teacher, that one, that sampradaya, so many you can go spiritual shopping even on YouTube. It may not be right. It might not be easy to find the right teacher. That is why Devanugraha, yesterday I had a program here, satsang, and somebody asked me, how do you know the right teacher? And this is how you don't know the right teacher. It is purely God's grace that reveals the right teacher for you. Only God's grace. Otherwise, everybody sounds correct. Sometimes everybody sounds correct. That's the problem. This one sounds correct. That one sounds correct. Then you don't know which one to go for. And you're more confused than ever. So what is it? He says here in this verse, Devānugrahahetukam. Devanugraha, because of Bhagavan's grace alone, because of that extra factor, which is grace, you will not get trapped in wrong thinking, get trapped in some other, you could get trapped in cults also, because people are, there's leaders of cults who act like gurus and teachers, and then you get trapped in cults. So just because somebody is charismatic or popular doesn't mean they're spiritual leaders. Human beings are like sheep. If you find, somebody on YouTube with 100 million followers, what will you do? Oh, I will subscribe. I will subscribe. Somebody with 10 followers, no, they can't be that good. Look, be very clear in life. Viveka needs there. Just because somebody has 50 followers, they may be authentic. People who have 100,000 followers may not be authentic. So we have to use a discerning faculty there. Use the buddhi that is given to see who is clear, who gives me clarity. You should see who gives you clarity. That is the best way to judge. Does my life improve with this person's teaching? Then you have to give it some go, try it. So grace is very needed to find a proper teacher in life. And that is why Adi Shankaracharya says, these three things are very rare to gain in life. If you have got them, don't waste your opportunity. Don't waste your chance. Go for it. Bhagavan has blessed you. Make it in this life itself. Discover spiritual success. So with that, I will finish for today. And I will send the prayer verses to the group. We can learn for next week. And any questions, again, I will answer at the beginning of the next class. You can send in to Neeru, and she will send me. Or you can send me directly. If any of you have my numbers, you can send me also directly. Okay. Hari Om. Have a very graceful week ahead. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.